Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. So let's get into the subject matter today too. I think you're really going to love this, and this is why I'm asking you, if you are a note taker, take your own notes. This might be just the thing you absolutely needed to hear. Because we are talking about automation all this week. Anything that we can do with automation gives our brains a little bit of a relief. Because when we tossle and turn and we have our prefrontal cortex all in a knot, just going, should I or shouldn't I? This is hard to, I can't decide, blah, 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 blah. You know, when we do all of that, do you know how crazy that is? It's mentally exhausting. It's literally exhausting. It makes you just feel like, man, I'm just so over it. I can't even. But automation is essential if you are going to change behaviors that you want to get rid of. And guess what? Your environment is what's going to determine your success. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you? We haven't really unpacked that very much. And today we're really going to get into it because this is the key to everything. This is the foundational principle behind automation, actually, is setting up an environment to support automation. So everything that we do, everything in our lives pretty much is automatic. We go, we get up, we take a shower, we drink coffee, we go to work, there's automation all there because you know what's involved. You know what it takes in order to get you out of the door, right? Do you sit there and go, okay, so here it is, it's 6:45, I've got to be to work at 8. That means I'm going to do this and this and this. You don't. You just get up, you get going, and you go, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. That's how it works. You go through this and you go through that and you go and you get things done. It's automated because you've done it so many times. And normally, when you found that things are just a little glitchy, you fix things so that they support what it is that you're trying to do, because ultimately your goal is to get out the door at a certain time so that you can show up at your workplace on time. Am I right? I mean, this is how this whole thing works. That's how we do it with living. It's also how we do it with learning. Yesterday, we talked about repetition. And that's how we learn languages. That's how we learn our times tables. It's how we learn how to drive. Repetition, while it might be boring, is also critical and crucial so that we can automate things, so that we can make things just happen again and again and again. And that's your automation from first thing in the morning, getting out the door. But we've outsourced it. A lot of us have outsourced and automated our behavior so that it's in an environment that oftentimes contradicts what our real true goals are. You know exactly what I'm talking about if you have a pantry with Little Debbie's in it, right? Or a pantry with stuff in it that when you open the door, it's looking right back at you and saying, hey, sister, that temptation, come to the dark side. You know what that is. You know what it's like when your husband says, oh, let's just order pizza. And he's on the phone, with a pizza coming to your house, where if they open the box and the smell comes out of the box and you're going, I'm trying to sprint here. What's wrong with you people, right? Or your kids are saying, Mom, buy the Fritos or the Doritos or whatever it is, buy the this and buy the that and buy all these things. What does that do? It corrupts your environment, and it's tough. But again, we have to go back to this original premise. If we're going to automate, then we have to automate according to our environment, because the thing is, we have to curate our environment in order to automate our environment. That's just the whole thing. Because if you are constantly put into this place of having all of these things forced into your face, the cheese and crackers, Sarah, exactly. The cheese and crackers. I finally just told Mark to get rid of them. Just get rid of them. Get rid of them. Yeah, they're gone. And that I don't need them. They don't need me. They can do just fine without me. As a matter of fact, you know what I said to Mark the other day? I said, I don't need any of those. I know what they taste like. That was a relief. That was my get out of jail free card right there. But to curate your environment, there's several things that we've got to do, like a pantry raid, and clear out the pantry if it's offending us. What does the Bible tell us? We have to cut off our hand if it offends us. Same thing with our pantry. But, oftentimes we'll get into, what happens when you've got, a whole tribe behind you screaming, not my chips, not my cookies, not my fill in the blank. We'll talk about that. But you have to you have to curate your environment and create maybe your own pantry. You need to make an agreement with your spouse when it comes to when pizza is going to be ordered in the house or how it's going to work out. You need to have an agreement with your kids on this whole snack situation. Good idea, by the way, because this is a behavior that they're going to take with them. Is it something you want them to have? Is this a health habit you want them to have for life? We got to look at all of that stuff. And this is where the emotional exhaustibility comes in, because the decision-making, puts you in this place of push me, pull you. We've talked about that. And who wants that? Nobody, not a soul. Nobody's sitting here going, yeah, I just want to sit there and struggle with my environment all day long. No, you don't. You don't want to do that. When you struggle with your environment all day long, you find yourself into this place of having to depend on one thing. And you know what that is? It's one thing that doesn't work. I've talked about it before. It's willpower. It's willpower, because you're surrounded, by the enemy. You're surrounded with pizza boxes, cookies, all the garbage is all around you. And come on, it's engineered to hook you in. Let's not pretend for a minute that, the kids are sitting here and throwing an apple up in your face and saying, aren't you tempted, Mom? That's not it. It's not that. It's all the stuff that's engineered to do that kind of a work, to take you down and to get you hooked. We've talked about that in our addiction webinar, right? So when you don't curate your environment, when you don't create your own pantry, and you don't make rules and situations so that you can curate something, you have to fall back on willpower. And you're just, you're one among 10 enemies. Think about it that way. That's what happens. Hey, Carol, I'm glad you're here. So here's what you need to do. You have to think about it. It's like having a spare tire for a car. What are spare tires for cars? You know what once upon a time, it used to look like a regular tire, or it was the old tire that you took off your car. Not anymore. It's these insy bitsy dinky winky tires that are used to take you from here to there so that you can go get a real tire. It's temporary. It's small. It's tiny, and it's ineffectual for the long run. That's willpower. Willpower doesn't work. It doesn't work. It works this long. But to depend on willpower, that's not going to automate your environment. That's not going to automate your habits. That's not going to give you what it is that you need in order to get into the groove so that you can get what it is that you want back. It doesn't support your goals. You got me? This is important because I want you to see the dichotomy here. If your environment is all wrong, then your goals aren't going to get supported. You're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be foul play. You're going to have to depend on willpower. And it's exactly like that spare tire for your car. So, and here's the other thing too. You live there as well, Having to have willpower in your own home is kind of like having to walk by Dunkin' Donuts at the mall every day. You see what I'm saying? If it's your home is just full of temptation, and all kinds of stuff. There's no room for you. You've got to negotiate your terms. And I'm saying this because I think that oftentimes we just default to whatever. But on the other hand, one of the other things that we do is we expect everybody to read our minds as well. Like, hey, you should know, mom's sprinting, cut that out, get rid of the pizza. You have to have agreements beforehand. You have to settle your terms beforehand. You have to create and curate your environment beforehand, right? Have the conversation with your husband, have your conversation with the kids, and figure this stuff out. If it's important to you, you will make it happen. You will make it happen. You will have your own pantry. You will have your own setup. You will have things in a row for what you need. You'll get it all done because this is what we need to do. And I just hate when people don't have and feel like they're out of control in their own home. That's nowhere to be. You know, your home is your sanctuary, just like it is for your husband, just like it is. Nancy's right. Yeah, that's what I was going to put in my notes, actually, Nancy. She says, one advantage to living alone. It's true. You can curate your environment one heck of a lot better than you can when you have to negotiate, you know. So my negotiation with Mark was, you know, eat all the ice cream you want, put all the ice cream you want in the freezer. I won't touch it. But if there's certain things that that'll be tempting to me, and I'll tell, not this, not these things. Don't put those in there. Don't get those. He knows. I've been very clear about it, and it makes a big, big difference. So Benjamin Hardy said this. He says, your environment and you are two indivisible parts of the same whole. Did you get that? Your environment and you are two indivisible parts of the same whole. In other words, you're going to be an exact reflection of what's going on in your environment. Boom. Mic drop, right? So the science is clear. You will automate exactly and reflect everything that's going on in your environment. So this is why we go back to the old stuff, because nothing's changed. You know, otherwise it's, you know, biting hard on a stick, taking a shot of whiskey and hoping for the best while they cut off your leg. You know, this is how it feels, and it doesn't work. The pain is excruciating, and it doesn't work in the long term. So this is what we need to do in order to curate our environments as best we can. Then you ready to get down into some notes of like what we can possibly do? First of all, one is create a solo pantry. Now, you can live in New York City and still be able to do this. You need a shoebox if possible. This is your pantry, you know, or whatever. But figure this out. Take something out and clear the clutter or whatever and create an absolute 100% pantry. You've got to do that. That's number one. Number two, if your people, remember this is your home too, but they're against you. And if they're against you, not willing to support the environment that you need in order to stay successful with your goals, then you need to bloody well leave the house. If they've decided it's pizza time, then you've decided it's time for me to go for a walk with the dog, extended, or to go whatever. You need an alternative plan for when this kind of sabotage happens. These are the things that we need to do. We have to think these things out. Otherwise, plain and simple, we're stopped before we start. We're back to trying to, you know, do a car race with a spare tire on our cars. It's just not going to work. So leaving the house is like a big thing, and it's a statement, ladies. Can I just tell you? That's a statement. No, I'm not going to put up. I know what this is about. I know what's going to happen. I'm either going to be biting down on that piece of wood with the shot of whiskey while you cut my leg off, or I'm going to leave the house because I want to keep my leg. Let them know. Pick up your voice and say, yes, maybe I changed. Here's the thing. You know, your kids and your husband might say, oh, look, mom's changed the rules. Oh, great. She's changed the rules. Well, you explain exactly what's going on. Look, this is a rule change thing for me, and this is the reason why. I need a voice in this house. I need this so that I can have that. This is what my goals are. Now, I'm not asking you to do it for me. I'm just asking you to help me create the environment that I need, right? Right. And if they're not going to, then you need to extrapolate yourself from that environment during times of particular high level stress, where you have to depend on that stupid spare tire that's worthless, essentially. The other thing that I would suggest, get your butt into our community, for heaven's sakes. This is where you can let off a little steam and just say, it's pizza night at our house and I'm going crazy. Or I just need a little help right now because I'm desperately trying to curate my environment. Got any ideas? Let me just tell you, everybody will come out of the woodwork in order to support you. And then if you're going to take it another level up, go get yourself, what is it, a bloom buddy? Is that what you said? A body clutter buddy. Get yourself a body clutter buddy. This is when you have somebody to just say, hey, text. Really hard around here lately. Just need a little support. Can you pray for me? Can you give me a word of wisdom? Can you, whatever? You hop on the phone for 10 minutes. These kind of things make a huge difference because it breaks the pattern. Do you see that? We have patterns, and this is what it looks like. The pizza, don't order the pizza. He orders the pizza anyway. The pizza comes into the house. Not going to eat it. I'm just going to go have a smoothie. I'm just going to go do this. Oh my gosh, that pizza. Can you smell that pizza? Oh, I'm just going to have one piece. And then what happens, right? Oh, there goes my sprint. Oh, well, I'll do it next time. Ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. There it goes, sliding right down that hill. Doesn't work. That's why we have to get a pattern interrupt here. And we do that by getting in community. We do that even better by getting in with the body clutter buddy. And then if we really want to make a go of this, if we really are intent on changing this stuff out, of automating different behavior, then we're going to get into this place of accountability, one-on-one accountability with our body clutter buddies and saying, hey, you ready to do this? You ready to get together on Fridays at 3:00 every single day and just really go, okay, so what are your goals this week? What are you going to do? How are you going to go about that? Are you ready to do that? Are you? Tanya says our community is a part what keeps me going. Tanya checks in every day. Every day. We've seen Tanya's success right between her toes, 158 we did, and we're so proud of you, Tanya. That is success. That's how it's done. Change your environment, change your behavior, automate that stuff. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. And I will tell you, you set up those accountability minis. The research tells us that you have a 95% chance of making this work. And what the other research says? You do it on your own, you get the weight off, and you have a 97% chance of putting it back on. Which ones do you want? What research do you want to be a part of? Huh? This is why we're talking about this. Now, we created tools. I'm going to go through them and I'm going to show them to you because I'm so proud of what we have done, because I believe we've helped to elevate this community. And as a matter of fact, who was it? It was Wendy who was actually talking about the Take Back Your Life journal. Okay. First of all, we have the Take Back Your Life journal. The reason the Take Back Your Life journal helps to just completely alter your environment, the way you think, and what you do every single day and change your behavior is because we have a process in which you take the things that you want, drill them down into 3 goals, and write them out every single day. I am statements that are reflective of your goals. And guess what happens to your brain when you're doing this every day? You start doing the things to support those things. What? It's all based on science. This is why we do it. The Take Back Your Life journal works. And if you don't believe me, ask the hundreds, maybe even 1,000 now, of people who own the Take Back Your Life journal. It's all based on science and it works. They're at savingdinner.com/journal if you don't have one yet. If you don't have one, it's time. And by the way, always use a pencil. Just, I'm crazy about my pencils. The second thing is our mug, okay? That is our mindful mug. The reason the mindful mug works, this is not just a coffee cup. You can put coffee in it if you want to, but when you see it, you know, I am going to be mindful with my food. Because where do we fall down? The places that we fall down, the places where our environment starts to get crazy. You know what you can do when the pizza comes? You can go get yourself a mindful mug full of bone broth and start thinking about what my goals are. Start going through your journal and looking at your goals and reflecting on what it's going to be like to get there. Those are some ways that you can combat this, not willpower, but tactics, strategy. This is why we have the mindful mug. Those are at savingdinner.com/mug. Look what it says. You've got grit, not quit. You're not going to quit on yourself, are you? Of course not. Not on my watch. You're not. I'll come over to your house. I will knock on your door. I will drag you by the collar. I will take you back and throw you in the group. I'm telling you, that's how adamantly I feel about all of this. Thirdly, I should say, we've got our full bloom. Look at these beautiful quote decks. Why? We have quotes everywhere so that we're constantly seeing things and constantly changing our mind about what we think about. Because the things that we think, if you say, I can't stand to be around pizza, or I can't possibly say no to pizza, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to just change your mind about that and make a new thought and make a new way and find a way, like Diane and Nayad said, or understand what Pema Chodron says. Nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know, even pizza. So we have these three tools. Those are at savingdinner.com/quote. We have these three tools to automate and change your environment. When you automate your environment for success like this, when the pizza comes, you're not going to be falling apart. When your kids are eating moon pies and Little Debbie's and your husband's, snacking on the chips in front of the TV, you have something to fall back on, because all day long, you've been changing your mind. All day long, you've been making different decisions. All day long, you've been writing down and supporting your goals. This is it. This is everything. And without everything, can you can you see how it's changed you? Catherine says, I no longer eat pizza. That's one of our things. Kitchen is closed. And we do that because that is a reminder to close the kitchen. We do the different things. We drink the different things. We have the different things. We take our supplement. We do behaviors and habits that change our environment and automate us toward the goals, toward the life, toward the vibrancy that we are hotly desiring in our lives. You get that? You know why I'm so passionate about this? Because it bloody well works. I'll tell you, how many years did I spend in willpower hell? How many years have you spent there? You don't have to. You just have to change your environment and change the things you're thinking about, and change when you pick up a cup to even think about, what's this about anyway? Can you see this? There's wisdom in everything that you're doing, and it's always coming back to you. Does that mean you're going to do it perfectly every time? No. But I'll tell you what, you'll exchange this failure and I'm a loser and blah, 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 to I'm doing it excellently. I can do this. I can curate my environment. I can automate these particular behaviors and habits. I can make it happen. So I want you to look at this, right? I want you to start asking yourself, what if I changed my environment a little bit? What if I put some quotes out and had a mindful mug and wrote my goals out every day? What if I did that? Instead of just falling into this place of thinking I needed to have this tremendous willpower so that I didn't do this, and she must have this or she must have that. It's not true. All these she's that you're looking at and saying, I want to be like her and this, that, and the other thing. It's because of what they've done with their environments. They're not They don't have superpower willpower. They don't, any more than I do. We're all human. We all struggle. We all look at things and say, this is hard. So then we go about decluttering an environment that doesn't support us, setting up an environment that does, and then automating our behaviors so that this environment that we've set up absolutely supports all of it. I want you to know this right now. This is what it is. You're not being held prisoner by an impossible situation. You just are not. What you haven't done yet is figured it out. And figuring it out starts with creating an environment that is just right for you, that gives it automatic, easy reflexes to reach for a mindful mug, to see a quote that helps to change your mind a little bit, and to write your goals out every single day. As you do that, everything shifts dramatically, and it doesn't take forever either, because this is new behavior to support the life you want to live. And I don't know about you, but that's good stuff right there. I'm telling you, that's what changed my life. That's what can change your life. I hope that you found that helpful. Patsy, pinky's up to you too. Nancy, Lily, Jocelyn, and all of you. Thanks so much for being with me today. Peace be with you.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.